Peace, family. Welcome to African Spiritual Conversations. How y'all doing, ladies?
All right.
Uh, I'm great.
Great, great, great. How you doing, Ipa Dupuy?
I'm doing great. It's a great morning.
Yay. How was y'all's Mother's Day?
Well, it was mine was lovely. I got up and cooked breakfast for everybody. That makes me happy. One of them breakfasts with your grits, and cheese grits, and your
Ooh,
biscuits, and you
Ooh.
know, your omelet with all sorts of things. That kind of breakfast.
that good breakfast.
Yeah, good breakfast, and we
Oh,
all ate. And then we went to the beach. And well, I talked with Yamoja, of course, and asked her for her blessings and to purify and cleanse me and everybody else. So it was, and then I came home and cooked dinner. But anyway, um, it was good. It was good.
right on, right on. So, hold on just a minute. I think I have the time for me to get my
And
laptop
well,
serviced.
I talked with.
Okay.
It's time.
Are you there?
Yes.
Okay, sorry
Yes.
about that. Okay, so I think it's time for me to get my laptop serviced. So it's moving a little slow. So it's like, okay, I probably have to take some of this stuff off
Oh.
and, get her a little checkup, but it'll be okay. But here we go. I gotta make it public. I have like little things I gotta do. Okay, so with that being said, yesterday I did two shows and it was really awesome. Sunday Sit with Sisters, and then I produced Voices from Wise Women, and I enjoyed both of them. But the second one, I'm just producing, so you don't see me until the
Yeah.
end. They asked me to come in, Melanda, I need you to. But I loved hearing these older women talk about their topic was things your mother didn't tell you, or things your mother should have told you, or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
it wasn't in a blamatory way. It was kind of like, ooh, if they would have told me about blah blah blah. But part of it is just to keep living. Like no one can really prepare you or tell you.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff we say, but they can't really tell you that. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
most of us are from Missouri, the Show Me State. Like that.
We ain't gonna take your word for it, no way.
Mm-mm. No, we really not. But
Yeah.
with that being said, when you were doing your spiritual work through the weekend, did anything in particular come up around Mother's Day or mothers or anything like that at all?
It certainly did for me. I woke up yesterday morning with the sh- the virtual sisterhood coming together that we did the night before,
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
and I realized that we all need sisters in our lives. That's the one theme that seemed to be recurring throughout all of our conversations uh, with each other virtually. And, as you get older, hopefully, I say this often, hopefully you realize how much you really don't know,
Mm.
but you also turn around and look behind you and see all these sisters who are behind you. I'm not just talking about the sisters on that virtual, on the Zoom,
Mhm.
but all of us, specifically my Black women. And we we need each other very, very much. We've been separated from each other. We've been afraid to really talk to each other for fear of judgment and ridicule, and folks going back and telling other folks what we said in confidence and those kinds of things. And we all have a need to unburden ourselves at times, and no place to do that. No place where we feel safe. No place where it is sacred ground. It doesn't have to be the ground you walk on, but sacred space where you know you can go and not be judged.
Yeah.
You know, that is how I woke up. And I woke up also thinking to myself, well, I was going to write something to the women who were on that Zoom, but I wanted to call all of them, except for Chris Ann, because Chris Ann and I she's younger than I am, but we're in that same kind of timeline. But I wanted to call all the rest of them, not my sisters, but my daughters. So, because it was Mother's Day. And so you can come to your mother, at least this mother, and tell her anything, because it ain't nothing I haven't seen and I haven't done for the most part. I was not an angel by any stretch of the imagination. I've done some dirt. I'm human, and I've done a pack, a pack of ignorance. So, yeah, that's what started my Mother's Day. And then I took myself into that kitchen and started rattling them pots and pans, and that was it.
Right on. What would you suggest for people who are working on the healing of the risks that mothers and daughters have? Some of them are scratches and some of them are deep cut wounds, like to the bone. What do you suggest?
If you have a deep cut wound to your bone, the first thing you must do is take off whatever temporary bandage you put on it. Clean it out. If that means having a conversation, then do that. Only if you feel that it's time for you to do this. You have to always do it in your own time, but you have to take that temporary bandage that you put on that wound. Remember when, well, you all might not remember, but maybe when there was iodine. Remember you remember how that burned?
Yeah.
You remember how when you saw your mother coming with that iodine bottle, you wanted to run as fast as you could to get away from that? Well, that you got to take that, what you've been bandaging it up with all these years, you got to unwrap it, take it off. You got to look at that wound. You have to put the iodine on it. That's the part we run from. The medicine, the truth, the part you played and the part your mother played. And realize that your mother did the best she knew how at the time. She may have, she may have been on drugs. She may have had an alcohol problem. She may have had a sex problem with a whole lot of men. Hell, she may have sold you to men. During the crack era, that was almost
real.
A daily occurrence.
Yeah.
She may have abandoned you. You may have been born with the crack. On
board.
The addiction within you and all of that. There's a lot that we did to our children that we have to make amends for. But before any of that, you have to put that iodine on that wound. And it's not easy, but it has to be done. And then you have to let the air get to the wound. You have to because that's what heals the air. I just wrote today that I got from LaDonna. If you're looking for the creator, if you're looking for the divine, you got to go out into creation. You got to let the air hit that wound. And that is a process. And you've got to want it. You've got to want that healing in your in your deepest emotions, in your heart, in your soul. You can feel it when you go to a concert and they're playing that music and you can feel it at the bottom of your feet. And you can feel it in your finger. You feel it on your whole body. That's how you have to feel about wanting that healing with your mother. And you must always remember, she is the vessel of your incarnation, and she's not perfect, and neither were you.
Right on. Right
Yeah,
on.
that's just some of the things, but it's a long process usually, and it involves two people and all of their emotions, and there are different strokes for different folks. So there's no set formula, but I do know that one piece about opening up that wound, pouring on the medicine, and let it the air, the nature, the truth and transparency of what happened between the two of you, letting that clean that wound out. And that's about all you can do.
Right on. Right on. What about you, Ifa Modupe? Anything you wanted to add to that or to share to that or? Oh,
Oh,
sorry. 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 Go ahead. Sorry.
The, um, I had an interesting, how can I say, kind of transformation myself this weekend because over the course of my life, me and my mother's relationship has not, it's been pretty tenuous at times. And so, but talking to other mothers about um, the challenges of making choices for yourself in the process of raising children kind of turned on some lights for me over the course of my life. And so at different times, I've been able to release different feelings or whatever that come up in situations, different situations. So I feel like this weekend I really got to see something and it instantly transformed the relationship. And it was really just me being able to wake up to certain things that are true. Um, I was explaining to one of my sisters that you can stand in the gap for your child in as it relates to spiritual work. So you don't necessarily always need the child to be present. There's a lot of things that can be done on their behalf if you're willing to take responsibility for the entire process. You know what I mean? From divination to the ritual to whatever the expense is, whatever, however it goes. So there's certain things that can be done for your children in order to stabilize and and protect them that you can do, and they may not, you may tell them, may not tell them, depending on where they are in their journey. But you, as a mother, can use your wisdom and be that person for them because you lent them a part of your body to to come into the earth. You know what I'm saying? And that's a very significant thing. And so, in a lot of ways, even though I'm I'm initiated to Ifa. My mother is a Christian, but I see where her intention was to stand in the gap for me. You understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like in
Mm-hmm.
a spiritual way, because she's a very spiritual woman, and I've always appreciated that she has kind of a mysticism to her that makes her kind of an outlier in some situations in her church or whatever in her spiritual community. So I see that even though we don't share a lot of the same ideas about things and we disagree on a lot of things, there are some things that I have inherited from her spiritually that are not that I can't negotiate those things. Do you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
regardless of how I feel about what she may have said or may have done, or how I perceived an injury from her or whatever, it's still the truth that she's my one mother. She's my one
Yeah.
mother. And whether I have to walk a wide circle around her, or maybe not be in direct contact with her for some time in order for me not to disrespect her. Like, that's a part of the value that I understand of that is the truth of her being. So that's something that neither one of us can run from. The truth is, she's my one mother, and there a lot of my spiritual qualities have come through her ancestral lineage. So it doesn't, her walking her journey, which she has to do, and I have to walk mine, because I understand the responsibility that destiny is, and that we all make missteps, and that we all do things that other people, we're going to all have to do things that other people don't agree with, because that's just part of it. I don't have to agree with everything that she does. I don't have to. And even the way that she sees things, but I also know this is the first time I've been to my mother's house on Mother's Day when she was cooking. Like, she had a pot of oxtails going and insisted on me eating before I left. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that was
Right
like,
on.
that's new for us. And it was just a beautiful day. The time that we spent together on Mother's Day was beautiful, but part of it was my growth and ability to let go of some things, or even put things in perspective and let that be a new day. I think part of the healing process is also being able to let a new day come to you. Sometimes we're not ready to let go of the grudge, and that's what's necessary for us to experience something new, is to release the old experience. That's
Mhm.
a big part of anything. You know what I mean? Moving on from anything is that a willingness to want something new. Because sometimes we would just want our way. I just want my way. I just want to be right. I just, you know what I mean? This was wrong. This happened to me. You did this. This was wrong. And there are some things that I can't say that um, what my mother has, the things that we've experienced together, like she cut me to the bone, I can't say that, so that's a whole different circumstance. Like, but I do understand that it's all relative, and that when we experience something like that, we have to find the value in those relationships. And a lot of the value that I found is spiritual, and I'm a spiritual person, and I'm a spiritual practitioner. So I know that I still have to observe, I have to observe my truth in the face of whatever occurs with any human being. You know what I mean? If I say that I'm the person that does no harm, then I don't get to do harm. I get to
Yes.
let, if I'm the person that says that anything is possible, then I have to let things be possible.
Ashe.
If you know what I mean, I have to stand on my own principle as it pertains to all these things, and that's a highly charged relationship.
Mhm.
It's more charged than the relationship with your mate, because your mother can put you in a space that'll mess up your marriage.
Mhm.
And so recognizing that there's power there, then we begin to behave accordingly, you know, according to what we know. And sometimes you gotta let it breathe. Like you said, let the air hit it. Just move away from it, and then and see what happens when you come back. I think for me that was a very powerful experience, especially since this year I lost my ability to have children. Like, it's a done deal. I will not have any children out of this body. And so that was something that I had to really process when I woke up on Mother's Day. The gravity of that hit me, but I also know that there's other ways of becoming a mother. Like, it's not the same. It's not the same. But there are so many of our children that don't have their mother, that there's an opportunity there for me. You know what I mean? So
Right on.
all that happened.
Right on. I think you said something that you said a lot of things that's awesome. And you always bring it in. But I think also it's really hard for us, some of us, to have those conversations on that kind of level. Like I noticed that sometimes we'll do a real generic way of talking about something, but to really talk about what it's like not to have children, that's not an easy thing to do,
Yeah.
especially if that's not your journey. You know, it's like when people say, like, "Oh, you can share my child," but it's just not the same thing.
Not
Like,
the
and I
same.
know people are saying that because they want you to feel better, but I just feel like those are those real hard conversations. Or when you have to, because I work with so many different young people, when you have to remind people of the things that they did because you're trying to give them the opportunity to make an amends, but because sometimes your ego won't let you admit that you did something wrong, even though it's like
Yeah.
not just acknowledging and saying sorry makes go so, even if the person's like, you know, it really does travel on the person, in the person. You know what I mean? We just really can't have that. And looking at the spiritual side of why is that your journey? Why did that become your journey?
Yes.
We don't look at stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? We just don't. We just try to do like the, you know, human beings are funny because the physical world sometimes is more powerful than the spiritual world with some people. And so physically you want to have something, but if it doesn't match up with spirit and you don't know it, you just won't get it. It's like you're fighting like an invisible energy that you don't even know you're fighting. Because you're so determined that you want to have this and that you deserve this.
Yeah.
Someone said once to me, I am so grateful that I don't really get what I deserve. I'm so grateful. The things that I really asked for, that I thought I wanted, I'm so glad I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I used to hear older women say that all the time to me when I was young, like, "Ooh, if I had gotten what I really deserve, I don't know if I'd be right here."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our vision is not the vision of spirit. Our vision is we have tunnel vision. We only see what we want now, and we don't
Yeah.
see what that want is going to turn into 10 years
Yeah.
from now.
Right?
You know, and then we say, "Ooh, Lord, I sure am glad I didn't get that."
Right.
Mm.
Right. Right.
Sister Ia, thank you for joining us. I'm so sorry. I'm working from my laptop, so I'm like, there's somebody else in here.
Oh,
And I
baby,
had to
that's
break the
wild.
window. Thank you for texting me. Thank God for the internet. Because I was
No
like,
worries.
oh, she was there. There ain't no picture of her. So that's what I thought it, you know. Oh God, this is I'm
No
trying to put
worries.
my
No worries. I've been enjoying listening to the conversation this morning. You know, and how our mothers are involved and who we are, and you know all the different ways that our mothers throughout the generations have been involved in our lives. Because I know, I think I came in when y'all were talking about our mothers and things that we've gotten from them, and how it, the mother has influenced our weekend, this weekend in particular. I'm
yeah.
one of them rebel ones, and I always be saying, "Well, Mother's Day is every day," and it still is, you know. But for the children, for my children are all grown now, and have some of them had children, and they brought them all by. In fact, I became the nana this weekend again, you know, with all the 5 grandbabies, and what that felt like in this phase of my life, in this journey of my life, at this time with children, and making sure that the little trio are like, 2, 3, and almost 4, and think about how do we make that concept of their mother, that energy with them was really different. And I know in the divinations that were done for this time period, our maternal Egungun, our maternal ancestor is prevalent at this time. Divinations is there, of her being there and guiding us for where we need to go. So she's, even the spiritual energy is saying, "Hey, y'all might have picked this day, you think, but we have that influence. We're bringing her to you, and to revere her and her energy and how she's influencing us." Is like, interesting. My children gave me something to do with life, to do with plants, to do, that growth, that newness. And I thought about you, Sister Ro, because I built an earth tower, earth tower. It was really different. How the process was to layer the earth into this little tower that comes up like a little pyramid, and there's the water thing in the middle, and how you have to process the earth to put in. I never went through such an intensity of preparing the mixture of the earth before I'm planting something. And to have my grandchildren involved in each step of the process has been really good. It's that teaching space, like this is what we're talking about when we're finally able to really pass on from a different feeling than when we first became parents, or when we first was, much younger.
Yeah.
It's a different thing,
It's different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and just guiding them into how to feel the earth, to put their little hands up in the dirt and stuff in a different way. Because one of them, he was like, look at all that, and to help him to ease into that, to the point where he was just, and he's all in it, and having them help to build the earth into the tower. It's like, okay, it's a process, and it's really good. Yeah, so, Shay. Yeah, new beginnings.
I also was thinking more too about the work that has to be done with the mothers. And I just don't mean like people who are pregnant with new spirit and physical new spirit, but just like right now on the earth, this has been like this for a while, but now there's like a buildup, like there's something, winds of change are coming.
It's in the air.
Yeah, it's more like a war is coming. Like it's when women start raging up to like, no, we have to do something. We can't wait for what we think is a natural progression. And part of that natural progression is that we're dying. And people are just kind of like acting like it's like a cutting down of a tree, or we're clearing the land. And when you see women starting to take their power for real, there's a shift happening.
Yeah.
And the shift is revealing that some of us have been complicit in hurting the mother. Whether that's the Mother Earth. I remember at Standing Rock, the first person who ran to jump on the tanks was a Native sister whose mom is Native American, her dad is Black. I can't remember the sister's name. I met her. She was the first person rushing against a tank, like you're not doing this kind of. When women start to stand up and take that power, it shifts everything.
Yep.
Oh yes.
It shifts absolutely. I think that's happening right now. Me and Ifa Modupe was talking about that a little bit early this morning when we talked. There is something that's making people who was okay with the status quo feel uncomfortable.
Well, when you say there's something in the air, am I muted or can you hear
No,
me?
you can hear you. You're not hear crackling. That's why.
When you say that there's something in the air, you're 100% correct. That something is the mothers, the ancient mothers. They've been crying out to us for years now to,
Gotcha.
of course, their time is different from our time. I don't know
Mhm.
what that crackling is. Um,
Right.
but they've been crying out for us to wake up, wake up. And we have been waking up a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there. But now it's like when you have a snowball and it's rolling down the hill, it's getting bigger and bigger and going faster and faster. And it has always been the women who bring about change.
Mm. Say,
We and it's us. It's the Black woman, the original mother of humanity, that has got to remember who she is, recall, remember, recover, uncover, discover, whatever. She has to do that and take her rightful place, because she has been the goddess who, the divine that is within us, the goddess has been resting. She hasn't been asleep, she's been resting, but she's gonna kick some ass now. And she's already started that with the with this time that we're in, with this virus. And I think some time ago I said the ruling deity of this year is Oshun. And she's accompanied by Obatala, clarity, purity. But Oshun is the ruler of this year. And isn't it almost ironic that in a year when sweetness and wealth and all that she is ruling, we are waking up. She's sweet, but she's not sweet when you disobey her or disrespect her. She said when she was called back to help the Arun Mule, she said, "Don't let it happen again." And we have let it happen again.
Mhm.
And she's pissed. And she's letting us know it. Let's not let her have to kick us in the tail again, because it was not going to be pretty. But yes, we're moving. The women are on. It's like we're marching. You know, and you look behind you. I said this in a few minutes ago. You look behind you, and here come all the younger women. You know,
Mhm.
I'm marching because I'm going home. You're gonna have to be here still. Well, I'm going home soon or later, faster than, well, we don't never know when we're going. But anyway, but look behind you and you can see the masses of women, of young women. When I think about LaDonna, who gave me that saying of if you want to find the creator, go into creation. I mean, God, you know, and then all of you, and all those women on the call, on that Zoom call, they're coming behind us, and they're going to be the ones that bring in this
shit.
this bring back ma'at and balance and harmony, so that people can live righteous lives on this planet.
Yes.
Now I get off the soapbox.
No, you right on. You right
And
on.
yes,
Yeah,
right
you're,
on.
you're right on. Um,
I
I
wanted
just
to
know that there's a. You can say something from multiple way.
I wanted to say that me and LaDonna were studying a verse out of 16 Calories this weekend in OD. And it's something that we say all the time. If Olarum does not kill me, people cannot kill me.
Mm.
And so in the story, Ajibilu is a friend of the king. And well, he's lifelong friends with this man who becomes king. And when the king realizes that every time Ajibilu gets up, he's beating his drum with the rhythm of "If Olarum does not kill me, people cannot kill me." someone says to the king, "This is your friend, and he's not singing your praises, and you're the king." You give him money, you give him clothes, you give him food, and he's still talking about, if Olarum cannot kill me, people cannot kill me, because that's the name of his diviner. And so the king tries to set him up basically so that he can kill him. And he gives him a ring. He takes the ring home, places it on his ephod, and then when he goes to get the ring to give back to the king after 8 days, the ring is gone because the king is conspiring with his wife to take the ring out of his ephod and hide it. And he goes through this 3 times, and 3 times he goes to his diviner every time, and his diviner tells him what to do. And in the process of obeying the directives of his divination, he finds the ring each time and takes it back to the king. And then the king finally says, not to him, but to his wife, "Your husband is more powerful than me." And and so, yeah, he says to Ajibilu, "Yeah, you should keep saying that. You should keep drumming that. If Olarum does not kill me, people cannot kill me, because that's true." So, but the thing that stood out to me that I want to bring to the attention of women at this time is that every time he goes to his ephod and realizes that the ring is missing, he doesn't ask his wife. It says in the parable, he doesn't ask his wife. He goes directly to his diviner. And so there's a message in that for women about relying on men and other people to direct your traffic. So we kind of have a holding pattern sometimes where we think that we should address the person who is aggressing us, when in reality, the problem is solved from an entirely different consciousness. The problem is solved from seeking divine information, from seeking divine intelligence. So if you go directly to your diviner, then if Olarum does not kill you, people cannot kill you. Your focus is then on the divine. Your focus is then on this wave of women waking up and moving into our power is not directed by anyone who is aggressing us. It's not a result of us having been aggressed. It is a result of the natural order of things. This is the time when we wake up and jump into action. Therefore, our focus should be on that divinity that is in us, that is directing us on what our part to play is. So when we think about creating solutions moving forward, when we think about how we're going to transform and transmute energy and make the world different, make it a more beautiful place to live, a more harmonious place to be, safe for women, safe for children, safe for, and that means safe for everybody, then when we move into that space, our direction is not a reaction to that which is happening that doesn't work for us. Our direction is divine. So then we don't go looking at the person who's doing something against us or something wrong, trying to neutralize that. That's not our job. Our job is to do that which we are divinely directed to do, regardless of what else is occurring. So that if Olarum does not kill us, people cannot kill us, because you're not in charge of us. That's what we're waking up from. We're waking up from, no, you're not the boss of me. No, you can't tell me what to do. I'm divinely guided. I have my own personal divinity. And in that understanding, we need to support each other, because there's nothing that supports that understanding. And should we become a model for that in the world, then everyone will follow suit, because we automatically teach children by what we do. Words don't teach, experiences teach. So if you're raising a child and they are experiencing life with a mother or a person or an elder who is modeling this behavior, then they automatically know what to do. They don't have a bunch of question marks. They're like, no, God lives within me. So now I'm going to go find out what I need to find out. And yes, sometimes that takes another person. You guys sit on the mat, get divination, whatever your spiritual tradition is, whatever piece of God you have, however your spiritual discipline works, pull the information out of yourself that pertains to your destiny and the part that you play in it. Don't look at, we're not trying to, we have been adopting the idea that until you understand white supremacy, everything you know will confuse you. When the reality is, until you understand your destiny, everything you know will confuse you. You're not going to understand who you are. What are you supposed to be doing? Because that's the most important part. When you wake up in the morning, you don't form your day around your enemies. You form your day around your destiny. And so that's the redirection that's going to guide us and be the context for everything that we do next.
And there you have it. Boom.
Hey, I have a question for y'all. Do y'all have a feature where you are that says comment at all in this app?
No.
Anything that says comments?
Okay.
All right. I gotta get on somebody so I can see what it looks like from the other angle.
It says private chat or live comments. Is that what you're talking about?
Do you see that on yours?
I see something that says private chat that's highlighted in blue, and then
there's
next to it says live comments
on the Facebook.
Yeah, see it? Maybe it's live comments. Because there are people leaving comments, but I just be wanting y'all to see. And some question asked me that yesterday, so I was like, I need to be asking y'all. Do y'all see something?
Okay, so when I click on live comments, a whole bunch of different people's names and comments show up.
Yeah, good. Those are people listening to you all saying, Ashe, and they're responding back to this conversation. So it was great for y'all to see that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Okay. Right on. I'm right there with you. Well, all of y'all, really, I'm right there with you. I just feel like the spiritual work piece, like I realize on the planet, we have people who want to do change, but they don't want to change the work. Like, it's like you want to do what's ever going to be the easiest path, but not the path that may be hard, that may get the change that you need.
Yeah.
Not just going through the motions, but really working through the motions. That's a little different than like, we're going to have this conversation and then nothing changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So.
We always look. Go ahead, Madupe. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm done.
I was just going to say, we always look for the easy way out. And this is not one of those situations where the easy way out, there is no easy way out.
No, there isn't.
Yeah, thank you for putting that piece in there, Ifa Madupe, because, that saying comes from very well noted Black psychologist. Was it Amos Wilson? Who was it? Oh gosh. Anyway, he said that. Who was it?
Francis. No,
it wasn't her. No, it wasn't her. It was a man.
It was who?
It was the man that she studied under.
Oh, you mean Neely?
Yes.
Okay. We have to come to grips. But for the time when he said it, his thinking at that time, it made perfect sense for us. But it's not timely for us now. The way that you put that when you said, when you explained it, now that resonates with me.
Yeah.
I got that piece.
It's just even for a stage of your spiritual development, it makes sense, right?
Mm-hmm,
But who we're called to be in this time, that's not going to work for us. That's not the approach we need to take. There was a time when we needed to gain an understanding of what is actually impacting us, right? Because we didn't really understand all the ramifications of the Willie Lynch letter. We didn't understand all of the ramifications of what had the trauma of the Atlantic slave trade. We didn't understand all of that. And so we're kind of operating in the dark and trying to gloss things over. But it's like he is saying, pulling the bandage off, cleaning that wound and getting the betadine. Now that it's healing, we have talked over the slavery experience. We have talked, and not that everybody understands every single part of it, but you really don't need to. You need to understand what pertains to you and your destiny. Because the problem is that people spend too much time talking about stuff and not enough playing their part. We each have a hand in this movement forward. And so if you can't put your hand in because you don't even know who you are and what you're supposed to be doing, you may be over here saying, I'm gonna lead, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna such, and then those are none of the things that are built. They're none of what you came here with. You want to be a communal priest, but that's not your OG. Do you understand what I mean? And so it's these things that require us to have responsibility for our actions takes on a whole new meaning when we really tap into our ancestral power, when we really tap into our spiritual power and being and operate from that space rather than, like you said, Rose, the physical. When we're working backwards, it's not working anymore. Now we're just starting to go backwards. And then we wonder what happened, but we have to remember that we play a part in our own experience. Things are not just happening to us. That's not what's going on right now. Things are not just happening to us.
That's right.
As a community of people, we don't do things that we have access to, right? So from the time, one of the first things that became clear in African spirituality is that when your child is born, develop a sense of what they came here to do and protect them accordingly. We're the only people of color on this soil that don't put protection on our children from birth. That don't have it's not understood like that there is a process from moving from adolescence into adulthood. And you have to be deliberate according to that person's destiny and what they came here to do. That's who we are. And we have the ability to that information is here. We have the ability to protect our children. We should not be operating out of fear. And because we do, then we get we attract certain types of things to us. Do you understand what I mean? And because we don't have the protection of our sisters, because we don't engage with each other in a particular kind of way, then a lot of things happen that didn't need to necessarily happen, but they have to happen in order to draw our attention to the fact that we're not doing what we said we were going to do when we got here. You make an agreement in heaven about who you're going to be, what you're going to do, what people can count on you for. And when you get here, your first order of business is to remember. Do that which would have you remember or then know. And so if you don't do that, if we don't make that a part of who we are, we can pour libations at every single event we have. And if we're not intentional about the connection between us and our ancestors, if we don't begin to make it important, like you chose your mama before you got here. So if she gets on your nerves, there's a reason for that. You know what I'm saying? If y'all don't get along, there's a reason why y'all ain't getting along, because somebody don't remember something. And don't stop blaming each other. Like every time it's time for you to move on from a person, you don't have to build a case against them. You could just say, now my destiny has me doing this. It's time for me to go. And then let them go. When people say to you, it's time for me to go, let them go. And whether they say it with their actions, with their words, with their attitude, with the abuse, however they say it, when it's time to let them go, let them go. It's just like I understand why why we form codependent alliances amongst us, because we're scared. We do a lot of things out of fear, and we have a lot of people have put their energy toward and their resources toward intimidating us because it serves them for us to be scared, but it does not serve us.
That's real talk.
And our responsibility to ourselves and each other, if you feel like you got a responsibility to the community, it's your first responsibility is to not be scared to be yourself. Yep, be yourself. It's not easy. It's not easy. So, I mean, it's not easy to love yourself. It's not easy to approve of yourself. It's not easy to be yourself. And it's not easy because everything in the world says, no, be like this. Look like this. If you don't look like this, you don't look right. If you ain't doing this, you ain't doing right. If you haven't done this, you ain't doing. No. If you don't do nothing in this time that we're in isolation, but approve of yourself and love yourself, you did a world of good to everyone around you.
That's real talk.
Yeah. I think that's why we're having this insanity with Black men killing Black women. They are scared. And the ones that they can take it out on, that they feel that they can control and that they're stronger than, they're not going to their boss or the man in the street or their brothers on the corner or whatever. Well, they are doing that too. But they're going to the women that are there to bring them to bring them solace, to love them, to be their mates, and they're killing them. How do you do that? You know, Ro, you started me on this. You brought this to the fore, and it's just heartbreaking, and it's something that is like in your head, in my head, all the time. How do we have men who kill their own women? In such awful ways. Not even, well, killing is killing, but you're stabbing somebody 26 times, you're raping a 13-year-old girl, running a train on a 13, how do you do that?
Mentally retarded. Like, I'm right there with you. I just feel like I'm gonna take a page out of Esau Multiplay's book. I feel like it is not my job to figure out why they're doing it.
I guess not.
Because I feel like that's a part of the insanity. Instead of trying to protect the people that this is happening to.
Yeah, that makes you crazy.
One thing I learned about slavery that has always impacted me, studying it, that it was always about getting in your head and controlling everything you are.
Yeah.
And when we tell people, no, I don't want to think about you first, I want to think about myself. When I want to tell people, no, I don't want to make you comfortable, I want to make myself comfortable first. That's like breaking free.
Yes.
We're the only people who are always taught to make our oppressors feel comfortable and make sure they're okay and make sure they feel welcome, even though you're not comfortable with that. Like, you know, it doesn't feel right in your being, but we're so into this program of making sure everybody else is okay, even though you are doing horribly. And I feel like when I look at those cases or think about those 288 Black women who have been murdered by the hands of Black men, I don't want to think about what's in those young men's heads. I don't even care. I think about what those women must have went through. Yeah. I think about that energy that I know is on the planet. I think about what produced them and what is producing more of them to be victims like that. What's going on with us as women, as
Yeah.
girls? That's a part of the program that your life will be taken over his. Something's wrong with that, and that's the program.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can't even. I think that's just as much as being a woman as it is to nurture people. I think nurturing and whatever the opposite of nurturing is just as important at this stage in the game.
We have to nurture ourselves.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I also think we got to know when to break free.
Mm-mm.
You know, it's like you trying to nurture a snake. Is that possible?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's still, if it's a snake and it's gonna bite you, it's gonna bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know.
So then when
We
we're doing our
we
prayers,
you know,
yeah,
and
because
we
when we
get
do
to
our prayers, that's what we're doing. We are protecting ourselves from to giving ourselves with that spiritual energy. How do we see properly what's coming at us? How do we hear and feel properly? What do we need to do to develop that strength we need for whatever the situations are that we're in, even including the abuse and stuff that we go through, because we go through all the different phases of system. Madupe put in really good way of being able to see it. But
Mhm.
you know that and we say we pray. Some folks say, well, why were we praying for those who are oppressing us, or those who are making us feel that? Because we do want them to change. You
But see, I
know,
think
some
that's the
people,
assumption that you
yeah.
just made. That's an assumption you just made. Like when you pray for your enemies, what's the purpose of it?
For them to change
But why?
around you.
Why do you have to help them do that? Why can't they do that for themselves? Why can't you just pray that you get free?
We're all connected in
No,
some
no,
way, form, or fashion. We're
no,
connected.
no,
We have a
no.
connection.
No,
We all believe in
I
a
think
different
that's a
kind of
cop
way.
out. I think we pull that together when we need to do that for convenience. But if somebody's murdering you as you lay there dying, you think to yourself, we're all connected?
We are connected. There's a reason why I'm there. There's a reason why I'm there. I need to be able to protect my family, my
What's
my
that?
people that I'm around. It's a phone, and I'm trying not to. Um,
I think
but when
it's,
you're trying to protect yourself,
yeah.
you have to see where you're at in your point in your life too. Where you're at. When you are praying for your protection. You have to pray for you to be in a better space. That is
yeah.
why we have the
I
initial
think
wisdom.
what's happening,
Okay.
sis. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I
No.
want to
No, go
say
ahead.
I think what has happened also is there's this idea that um, our safety is dependent upon someone else, right?
Yeah. Right.
Safety, the feeling. Well, I'm saying like in a situation where is an issue, which it is an issue for Black people in this country. Power is an issue. We we have not made a graceful transition from being property to property owners. So power, the idea of power impacts us. And when we perceive that someone has more power than we do, then we tend to then take into consideration whatever they consider, which that's been our default setting for survival because of slavery. We do that because the part of the hard drive white that was seasoning during the slavery experience was to impress us with the idea that everything that we do has to meet the approval and also work for those people who have enslaved us. The thing that's happening now is we are working through our ideas of freedom. What does that mean? What freedom do we have and who are we? And so, working through that, we come to the place in history right now where we have to choose our own power. We have to
Mhm.
take responsibility for that, cover the ground we stand on, and also understand that we have inherent power. It's not power that anyone can give us. It doesn't come from agreeing with other people. It doesn't come from working in harmony with others. It is inherent and therefore not biased. So it's used how we choose to use it. And recognizing that the person standing across from us trying to beat the shit out of us has the same power that we do is a part of it. Recognizing that we are made by the same creator and similarly or designed the same way, then and they also have inherent power, and this is how they have chosen to use it. It is our responsibility to take control of our own inherent power and say, no, I'm using my power to then say, to assert my destiny. I'm not going to let you cut it off. I'm not going to let anybody else cut it off. I'm not going to, but we and circle the wagons of our sisters who feel the same way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then you align your ashe with the person who's also working in the same direction that you do. Praying for your enemy aligns your ashe with your enemy's agenda. When you pray for yourself, you don't have to pray for harm to your enemy, but you don't have to take anything. You don't have to take hands. You don't have to eat out the same pot. You don't have to sit at the same table. You don't have to agree. You don't have to touch and agree. You don't have to not touch and agree. You don't have to regard them, because the way that you make their power not a part of your equation is to cut off the communication.
Yep.
I now disregard your entire existence. I take care of myself so that if you throw something at me, I'm keeping myself clean because that's a part of my spiritual discipline. I'm going to consult with those people who do work for me to make sure that I'm okay. When something goes to the left, this is the whole point of this story in OD. If Olurum cannot kill me, people cannot kill me. I understand what you're saying, but I also know the origin of that idea. I don't really think that it has its genesis in African spirituality. Gentle character will allow you to be gentle to yourself first, because you are your first responsibility. And I think that's what Rolanda is trying to say. Like, that's a choice. And I'm not saying that everybody is supposed to do the same thing, because I don't lay blanket generalizations over people. And it may be you that may be your thing, where you get to pray for enemies. But I'm saying, like, you can't make that everybody's thing, because
no, and I don't. Yes, I agree.
My own, and I'm gonna say this from a personal experience, my own empathy for my enemies has cost me greatly.
Yep, I've been there.
My aggression toward my enemies has cost me greatly. So I understand that I need to make them a non-entity for me. They're not a part of my equation. I don't think in terms of what my enemies are doing. I think in terms of how I feel, what is going on with me. How am I making progress towards that which is my destiny? Am I finishing what I started? I'm self-absorbed, but I'm also self-reliant, and I self-reference. Do you know what I mean? And so when I know that I can trust that we're on the same page, that's when I align myself with people. And they can borrow my consciousness, they can borrow my ashe, they can borrow my money, they can borrow my time, they can borrow my love. But if we ain't on the same side, I'm not about to pretend just because you Black. Because I have suffered greatly at the hands of Black people and white people and some Asian people too. But you know, but a lot of it, the part that I played was the most important part. And that was over empathizing with my enemy. Because I come from a family of Christians who say, pray for your enemies and those that despitefully use you, and love your enemies. And I love this is how I love my enemies. I love Ola Dumare. I love that which we call the Creator. And they made from a part of that just like I am. That's all the love they're gonna get. They're gonna have to get it by way of they're gonna have to get it by way of the Orishas. If I have family who did me wrong, they're gonna have to get that love by way of our ancestors. I'm not gonna aggress them, but I am gonna pray to my ancestors to protect me, and I don't need any further. I don't need any further contact, energy, or FaceTime with that trauma. We keep re-injuring ourselves in the spirit of empathy.
And I think I think that's an unhealthy dance that we do, that we think that's a part of our culture, but it's killing us. It is literally killing us. Sorry, your dog was talking.
Yeah, that is a paradigm shift. So it's going to take time for us to truly understand that. But I get it. It's a paradigm shift. We have to shift our mind from that 1950s, 1940s, 1930 thought, oh, pray for your enemy. It was somehow we thought, and some of us still think, that we can change what somebody else is thinking and what they want to do to us. But that's not our job.
No, it isn't.
Our job is to change our own thinking and be our own masters.
And the first part of that is remembering that you wrote this story before you got here. These people are playing a part in your story. You said you was going to do this. If you get out of line with what you said you was going to do, they will gently do. Look, you designed for whatever it takes to bring you back to complete your destiny to happen, positive or negative. So that's going to happen. Those people some things happen to you that are happening for you. And even if that being the case, these people are playing their part, you still need to play your part. Somehow we have to twist that when someone does something to you because you wrote that into your story, that then you should be friends with this person. No, we're grateful for that happening because it brought us back to our destiny, but they still did that.
True that. What I'm saying to pray for them,
for fun.
I'm not telling you to be friends with them.
They came here built for that action. Let them go on and do what they came here to do. But now you're done with that. Move on. Don't stay there.
I agree. I think what Ia was saying was so true. That's a part of the changing. I ain't gonna lie. When people start talking a certain way, I immediately shut them off in my head. Like, I don't want no more of that program. If I say I don't eat pork and I come to your house, all you got is pork sandwiches, I'm not gonna be able to stay. And it's okay. But I feel like I really understand programming. I could be in the room and people be talking. I already know where this is going because I understand the program. It's like, oh, this is not the meeting for me. I don't want to do that. I don't want to hear restorative justice when nobody gets to be responsible. I don't want to hear let's protect the people who screw us up, because we say that about the so-called white people, but we also say that about when men do stuff wrong. We immediately, that's a direct program from that program. It's kind of like you had a little kid and it was that. And so I watch Black women constantly people always trying to beat. We are so powerful that people put time in to control our thoughts.
Man.
That you must be pretty powerful. Yeah. That if people can't do anything without you. Huh? That's all I'm saying. I just feel like in order for people to save themselves, they gotta focus on themselves, and it cannot be in a compromise. Like he just hit me, he didn't kill me, but he shouldn't even be hitting you. So
when I say I'm praying for your enemies, I'm not saying to pray for them to be your friend because there's somebody that's trying to do something wrong to you. When you focus on your prayer for yourself, you're also focusing on that balance in the environment around you. it is, you can pray to fight every day. I just want to fight. I want to, but there's a way to balance out what you're praying for in your life around you. I don't want to be in an environment where, for whatever reason, there's this person cussing out over here, this person is hitting over here, this person, all that. I want to pray for the balance around you also. That yes, you are praying for your protection, your power to manifest as much as you need. Doesn't mean you're stuck in any one which way or fashion. Each of us does have a part to be played in the journey that we're in. So that you also, you want your winds to be a little calmer in this thing of change that we're all going through all the time. Loya, when she does her breeze, I sit and I watch the trees, and I'm going, okay. So she's balancing me. She's blowing me through the changes that I need to go through at this time. Those who are around, who none of us know who all our enemies are. I don't really label them and give them that power and say, well, you got to be an enemy. Using that term is that's a term that a lot of people understand. But for those who are doing us something wrong or who mean us malice, some people don't want us to have this conversation that we're having, because we're not going to always see the same way of looking at how we're doing. We're all the different parts of our journeys. As I said, the paradigm that how we're peeling off what we do, and be able to at least pray for that balance to be around us for whatever work we're doing.
Yeah.
Not to be complacent or give the oppressor more power. Because we don't want to do that. We're knocking down that energy with that prayer we're doing. Hey, get your stuff together. Just leave me be. Get your stuff together and come away from me so I can balance what we're supposed to be doing in all parts of our life.
About is a disregard for your enemy. What I'm saying is that shouldn't even be a part of your equation.
Yep.
What we have focused on is that which comes up against us. When it comes up, we address it. But our focus is on our own forward movement, right? So, like we said, that's a paradigm shift, because we have been in the business of considering other people's considerations for so long that it's not working for us, it's working against us. It has us backpedaling from every bit. We avoid confrontation. We avoid, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well, but also things that I've witnessed us do as a group. And I'm saying, like, that's what I pray to Ogun. Move the obstacles out of the way. Whatever, however they are, whether they're people, spiritual, whatever, and within me first. Whatever obstacles I have within me, get me out of the way. Help gently move me, come on. Sometimes, like we talked about last week, you gotta put your ego back up in the tree, because you're the holdup. We are primarily our reaction to things, our willingness to put someone's ori above our own, and to people please, rather than being about the business of our destiny and playing our part.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing that I have witnessed from Black women. That we'll be the first ones to tell you why we can't do something for ourselves because of how it's going to impact other people. And we're teaching people how to treat us. We are teaching our children how to be this way by modeling this behavior. Is very dangerous for the Black community. We're saying, no, we don't come first. With this behavior, we're saying, no, Black lives don't matter. Your life matters. How do you feel about this? How do you feel?
Yeah.
That's real talk.
All the things this behavior communicates to the world that we're not, you don't need to count us. We're a non-entity. We're here to serve. We're here to, you know what I mean? And we totally have misrepresented the idea of service. Because your first service is about you fulfilling your destiny. You came here to serve, and you said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be an example of this. And instead of that, we think now it becomes, is your food running together, honey? No? Okay. All right, I'll go fix your plate again.
Mhm,
You know
mhm.
what I mean? We're walking on eggshells, pins and needles, trying to make sure that everyone else is satisfied with how
Mm,
our life shows up.
that's deep.
This is why we're having these conversations
Conversation.
in my head. This is why we're having these are African spiritual conversations,
I know
Yep.
because
that.
we need to hear a different way of thinking and being. And
I say.
and many of us are our our vision, the way we have been socialized, has put us in a place that doesn't allow us to make that shift because we've never heard it before. We have
Hmm.
never been thinking in those. This is has to be part of post slavery, traumatic, whatever
Yeah.
system, because we are stuck in it, but it's old and it hasn't worked. And we have been neglectful in not moving forward. But that's why this is wonderful, because it
Yeah.
gives us the opportunity to hear and to begin to look at the world with different lenses.
Mm,
You
I know
know,
that.
we can put on a different pair of glasses to see
Right
what the hell
on.
is going on.
Say, I say.
Because we sure have been myopic. We ain't been seeing right.
No, we have,
No, that's real
and
talk. That's real
and
talk.
only because I've done, work to love myself, I can love on my sisters in this way. Do you understand what I mean?
Hmm.
Like
Real talk.
I remember saying some of these same things because they came to me, but I only had an intellectual understanding of them.
Mm.
But it's a part of my cellular being now. Like this is who I know who I am. So understanding the priests, male and female, who have lent me their consciousness, the people who have supported me, and given me information about my OG, and just so I could really know who I was and cover the ground that I stand on, have been priceless. So I'm not discarding any part of the community when I say this. What I'm saying is that in order for us to be interdependent and not codependent, we have to be able to stand on our own 2 feet. I have to know in my being that if somebody else stumbles, that I can catch them, and we ain't gonna just be a whole bunch of dominoes falling to the ground. Do you know what I mean?
Real
Like
talk.
when somebody comes to you and says, "This person is questioning me, but I know this is a part of my destiny, but I feel some kind of way bucking back." I have to be able to say, if that's a part of your destiny, that's your only responsibility. Being someone's friend and being nice to them comes way behind your destiny. Like if I says palm tree affairs are most important, that's what falls on that tray, and it's got to be the most important thing to you. Being obedient to your spirit, being obedient to what your agenda is when you came here. That's your first responsibility. That's your primary responsibility. And if that's the center and everything comes out from there, what we're talking about is the challenges to that. We're talking about how that makes you feel in your body, that it don't always feel good. It's not always full steam ahead. Oh yeah, okay, I got it. I'm gone. And it's not like that. It's like the person that's laying in the bed next to you might be like, why are you doing that? That's ridiculous. And then you got to
Mm-hmm.
say, because that's who I am. Now,
Mm-hmm.
adjust accordingly. Let's adjust accordingly. Is there something in our agreement we need to shift because this ain't working for you?
Mm.
Because I can't shift my agreement with my Ori. That's not negotiable.
Right on.
And if we begin to go into relationships with this understanding, like if I can say that this is a part of my destiny, these are things that I'm not going to negotiate in a relationship. Whether
Right
that
on.
relationship is with a lover, a husband, a child, a parent, no, I can't do that. because I will not only be doing myself a disservice, but I'll be doing you a disservice.
Mm. You know, it's
It's not
interesting,
love when you do that.
right? I always feel like, too, it is our obligation to make sure we clear the road for when those energies come back, the day that we have not created a place for them to have to start all over again.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because the
Yep.
part of the programming in terms of this collective we like to speak of, we have to make sure we
Yeah.
make the collective to where we're not pushing ideas that's going to make people be oppressed and
Yep.
suppressed. Because I get to see that too. Like when we,
Yep.
you know, like just the way we talk about, well, he should be on the board, but all the responsibility goes on the girl. Even when we talk and we say stuff like she got raped, she did this, like, wait a minute, people have to do these things too.
Yeah.
That's a part of the collective programming that we
Woo! That's heavy
remain in
right
place.
there. Yeah, that's heavy. That's real heavy.
I think we got to clear
She
that
got
up so
raped.
that
That
as
we can
those
do a
spirits
whole
come
show.
back through us, that we don't have that same stuff down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all right, y'all, it's 12:30.
Yes.
It was good though. People, hey, y'all
Yeah,
got
like it's a
to
workshop.
I
Yeah,
got
someone said in the
comments in the
comments.
room.
It's a workshop.
Sister
Yes.
Danielle says, I got to share. Okay, I'm gonna read two things on here. Sister
Okay.
Allison says, are we supposed to know, ask what really then is our purpose? Are we supposed to ask what is really then our purpose? Danielle says, I think this is the approach to take for the traumas that we as Black women face. We have been trained in the sacrifice forgiving model that does not heal us. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't want to do no fake healing. I don't want to do no fake I'm taking the high road, because when you take the high road, that's painful for people to tell you that. And that also creates trauma.
Yeah.
But when you should have just told the person the truth instead of taking their insults and keep it moving, that goes to your spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never get a chance to say, hold on, David, who are you talking to? We call that person ghetto, but they're gonna be heard.
Yeah.
We gonna look like we got over it, but we the ones who's gonna take these with us when we leave out the door. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sacrificing and forgiving model, that has probably produced more sick people on the planet.
Yeah. Man.
This
It's
is a great topic. Great topic. Yeah, and it's highly
Way
spiritual.
on fire up in here, though.
Oh yeah. Oh
I
yes.
love it, though. I love it. Y'all do have some questions in here. I just didn't read all the comments, but I just feel like this is something when we talk about spirituality. Okay, I'm gonna say it like this: the guy we had on Friday, he figured out a way to take spirituality and do his sexual freedom.
Yep.
As a man.
Mm-hmm.
No if, and, or buts, whether if you agreed or not. And he didn't even get no permission from nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He said, I'm gonna make this an issue. This is the issue for me. That's something I'm struggling with or whatever. And unapologetically, as a women, when we do that, we have other women telling you that you shouldn't do some stuff, or you should, instead of saying, well, this is what the sister talking about. Like, that may not be my struggle, but because she's bringing that up, that may help me in the future.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
If you listen, like, everybody has a part to play, because your life is multifaceted. You're not one thing. Do you know what I mean? We can talk about spiritual principles that apply to every part of life, but there are things that need to be specifically addressed because they have been specifically oppressed. You know what I mean? So, like, sexuality, Black women have been repressed. In almost every spiritual tradition, there's some active repression of Black women's sexuality. It's under the guise of modesty. It's under the guise of safety. It's got so many masks that it wears.
That's so true.
And so, if we were to just be honest with ourselves about what we like sexually, and stop trying to litigate the bedroom according to other people's policy.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Then we might actually get some freedom. Because here's the thing: when you're free, you should be free in all areas of your life. Are we financially free? I wouldn't say so. Are we politically free? Not really. Are we socially free?
Mm-mm.
When it comes to the standard of beauty, do we really have freedom? Not so much. Sexually in the bedroom, no, because there's always going to be somebody who said, "Oh, you do that," but you don't. It's not nobody's business. That's why you close the door. You close the door because it's between you and whoever's in the bedroom with you. That's whose business it is. You know what I'm saying? And so if we don't, I mean, like these are the things that we are working out. It's a work in progress. We're not going to ever finish. So therefore, there's very little we can get wrong, even though we can make errors and make corrections. Like this is the road that we're on. This is our journey, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be quiet. This is what we get to do. This is what we get to do. You know what I mean? It's a privilege to be able to talk about these things freely with one another. It's a privilege to have somebody to even talk to and to be able to articulate it in this way. And it's a privilege that every morning we wake up with the breath and inclination to be better. That's all.
no, right. It's interesting. We started off with the first initial question was, how can we heal wounds, if you will, between mothers and daughters in particular? We just came off of Mother's Day, whether this is a little straight or if it's cut to the bone. And all of this came out of that.
Yeah. And
That's deep.
and going back, I'd say you have to be true to your own Ori. Thank you, Ephraim Duplay. You have to be truthful to your own Ori before you can even begin to heal with your mother. Because you just said, Ephraim Duplay, if it's your mother, your brother, your whoever it is, you got to be true to your Ori first, your destiny. Yeah. Boy, this is good. I love it.
Man, boy. Oh, Lord. All right. We about to bust up out of here because yeah, we gotta get up out of here. Okay, so y'all know how this goes. So you know, I'm going to oh, sorry. We're going to wrap up. I need your one word, and then we're going to end this. But you know, we don't go off. I just got to close this out. So, which y'all's one word? This is a great topic today. Great topic.
I'll give you my word. My word is refreshed. I feel like I've been all spruced up and freshened up. One word, refreshed.
Okay. Who else is next?
I gave up my word. I just want to say, Modu Quail to all of you and for holding this space for us to have this conversation in Modu Quail, to everyone who signed on and shared the conversation.
What about you, Iya?
Oh, good.
Ashe.
All right, family. We shall be back on tomorrow. Y'all know how this goes. So we shall see y'all tomorrow. Hold on.